to officially welcome you to today's webinar titled ARIS 10 SR27, Unlocking Next Level AI in Process Intelligence. Today's program will be presented by Julian Krumich, Senior Director, Product Management for ARIS, and Philip Hake, Senior Product Manager for ARIS. Philip, over to you.
Thank you very much, Alana. And now, without further ado, we will directly dive into what's new in the ARIS world. And as you might see with this introduction slide that we have here, it's all about AI. And AI is in everyone's mind. So everyone is talking about leveraging AI. And I hope that you personally got your AI moment. So there's a huge discussion about how AI is going to change the way of working. And I understand if people are skeptic with these bold statements. And for me personally, I can say it hasn't entirely changed my life, but it made a lot of things easier and also enabled me things to do that I weren't able to do before. So just for example, remember this introductory slide with this nice AI robot. I'm not an artist at all yet. Thanks to AI, I was capable to quickly generate some nice looking robot for this presentation. So maybe it's not going to entirely change how we work, but it will make a lot of things easier. And while everyone is talking about leveraging AI, we're doing it. And we are not doing it in the next release, we're doing it now. So as of SR27, we're going to introduce AI capabilities into ARIS available for all of our customers. And here are already some feedback statements that we got from our customers using our new AI features. And also they led us to improving the AI features. So as many of you might know, we introduced our AI capabilities already in SR26, but only for selected pilot customers, where we really appreciate their feedback and took that into consideration when making now the product available. For example, a lot of customers complained that they have many distributed teams contributing to their process landscape and contribute to process mapping, but it's quite hard to get a consistent quality and also completeness of the process map. And this is not only due to a lack of resources, but also due to a consistent creation of content. And with our new AI capabilities, there is the opportunity to generate consistent output when it comes to mapping your process landscape. Also, I already mentioned the resources. I know resources are scarce and experts are scarce. And that's why it's even more important to consider AI as your assistant to get things done. For example, another customer mentioned that they would really like to also map the risks in their process landscapes, but they postponed it due to lack of resources. Another statement that we also received from customers working with our companion is, so they created formulas in process mining, so calculated fields, and they didn't get it to work. And then they just simply used the companion to ask it from a more business perspective what they would like to achieve, and the companion actually got the formula right. So this was a really enlightening moment where we could see that customers really quickly can create benefit with our AI capabilities. Also, we know that some customers already are quite embracing AI. So some have even developed their own AI solutions to generate processes. And there we're quite happy to see that we can even provide more sophisticated capabilities and they could drop their own developments. So these are really empowering statements that will also drive us in the future to even increase and improve our AI capabilities. And now, without further ado, I would like to hand over to Julian to present to you our new baby. the ARIS AI companion. Julian, kick it off.
Absolutely. Thanks, Philip. And yeah, you presented already some first customer feedback based on our pilot phase that we recently launched. And I think it's already quite promising what AI will provide you within the ARIS suite. And it's now available, actually. So we have here today the webinar on SR27. So we made it available last week. And let's take now a look what it really means for you. So as you know, we are here in a webinar around ARIS. ARIS is not just a single product or single component. We actually offer you a suite, an integrated one that is now really AI infused. So what does it mean? As you know, ARIS consists of 4 major building blocks, starting with business process analysis, automation, risk and compliance, and process mining. And now with launching the companion, basically we infuse AI capabilities across the entire suite. And at the beginning, we start with 2 components. So focusing on BPA, so business process analysis and process mining. And here, a couple of features and use cases are now being supported that we will dive into in a second. So for BPA, for example, you can now use the text to process model capability, just provide a text describing your process, and then the companion instantly will generate a process model out of it. Or AI-based consumption, so you can just ask a question and then the companion will crawl basically through your repository in ARIS and provide you with a written output. And the same is also in process mining. So also here we provide you with a bunch of use cases and features, wide array. So for example, the companion can answer you data-driven business questions. So you ask a question in the process mining context and you get a data-driven answer back. So really also improving and easing the way to get access to process mining data. But also we have a generic companion embedded. So whenever you need process guidance or guidance in process mining project, the companion is happy to help you. And we also have different existing components enriched with AI, like the Process Explorer or the quote that Philip already mentioned. When you generate a calculated field, the companion will help you and guarantee you a faster time to your actual result. But now, I mean, this is just words that I spoke. So let's dive in and let's see how it really works. So Philip, maybe show us what's going on in the BPA space.
Definitely. Thank you, Julian. So let's start with the text to process model. The text to process model, as Julian already mentioned, enables you to provide text and create first process model drafts from it. And these texts can be from various sources. So I think it's quite interesting to see that these can be textual descriptions of the process, but it doesn't need to be these textual descriptions. It could be also a SharePoint page where you present instructions for your employees. You could use these and copy and paste them to the companion, and you will get a process draft from it. Here in our case, a leave request. Let's stick to the leave request. So here you can see a transcript from a Teams conversation. This is something that you also can do. So it doesn't need to be the process description that you need to have at hand. It could be also an interview where you took the process requirements for the leave request. And now what this would look like for this specific example here with our Teams transcripts, we will show you an example how easily this can work in ARIS.
In this video, you will learn how to convert process descriptions or standard operating procedures, available in text format, into structured BPMN models using the ARIS AI companion. We will begin by creating a new process model, specifically focusing on a BPMN model. Now, open the companion feature by clicking on Generate from Text and enter your process description in the input field. This description can be copied and pasted from a SharePoint page or derived from a transcript of a process interview conducted via Microsoft Teams. If you would like to add a description for the overall process, simply select Add Description for the process. Additionally, if you wish to include descriptions for the functions or tasks in the process, select Add Descriptions for functions/tasks. Now, click on Generate Model. You will see a preview of the proposed model, which you can further explore. At this stage, you can also modify the text to ensure it accurately reflects the process you have in mind. To help us enhance this feature in the future, you can click the like or dislike button to share whether the generated process meets your expectations. Click Insert into Model to finalize the process. All objects will be permanently added to your model repository. And that's it! You have successfully generated a process model based on a text-based description using the ARIS AI Companion.
And it's also important to note, we presented an example for BPMN. Of course, this also works for EPCs. So no matter if you use BPMN or EPC, you can generate your process drafts. And this will make it really convenient to get maybe not to the 100% solution, but to quickly get a draft that you can easily improve. So it speeds up your process mapping in ARIS. But this is only one side of the coin. So of course, getting information into ARIS it's not something that you do for the purpose itself. So you want to communicate also your ways of working that you put into the models. And therefore, we have the second feature in our AI companion, which is all about consumption. And what you can do, you can let our companion answer any question that a user has with regard to the models contained in the repository. So the users do not necessarily need to know exact terms that are in your company, that are used in your company, or they do not need to know the group structure of where the models are positioned in your published content. They can just easily phrase a question and get an answer. And how easily they can do it and get to the content they need when they need it, that's something that we now see in the next example.
Are you looking for a smarter way to get valuable information from your ARIS models? What if you could simply ask your questions directly and get instant results? Let's start with a simple question like, what task we need to accomplish after a leave request has been approved, and see how ARIS can help. To do that, simply activate the AI Companion by clicking the icon in the top right corner and type your question. The AI Companion will analyze your ARIS models and deliver a written answer, along with links to the source models for verification. In this case, we need to prepare a handover document and obtain final confirmation from the manager. Don't forget to provide feedback by clicking the thumbs up or thumbs down symbol, as this helps enhance the feature in the future. To further verify the details, you can simply click on the footnote to open the specific section within the source model, allowing you to double-check the context if needed. Moreover, users with access to the companion capabilities also benefit from the enhanced search capabilities. For example, if you previously searched for a vehicle landing application in our United Motors Group demo database, the results returned empty. Now, users can enable the AI assistant search by toggling the option. When performing the same search again, you will see that the AI assistant search generates relevant results. This enhanced search takes into account semantic similarities between the search terms and the models available in the repository. That's it! You've just seen how the ARIS AI Companion empowers you, from effortless answers to insightful recommendations, for a smarter way to navigate your data.
Yeah, as you saw, we initially created the leave process using our companion and used afterwards the companion to get answer on that specific process. And it makes it really easy for users who are not that much into diagrams or into process hierarchies to get the answer they need when they need it. So a really convenient feature. And with that, I would like to hand over to Julian for more exciting features on the process mining side, which the companion will provide to you.
Yeah, thanks again, Philip. So let's dive in a little bit into ARIS process mining. So the first capability that we launched for the ARIS AI companion is I could even call it a game changer, how you deal with the rollout of dashboards across your organization. So assume you are part of a center of excellence, generating process mining dashboards and make them available. I mean, they are fit for a rather general purpose, right? So you have maybe a standardized set of KPIs shown, etc. But what if now one of your business users has a very specific question in mind that they need an answer for, maybe while a customer is waiting on the phone? And previously, I mean, if they were lucky, they find maybe the answer in this rolled out dashboard, or if it would be not an ad hoc call with a customer, but rather a email conversation, they could maybe get back to the center of excellence asking for a specific analysis made available for them, or even if they have the tool capabilities or knowledge, and also from a license perspective to write, they can maybe build up their dashboard themselves. However, I mean, this takes time. So there is no instant answer to such an ad hoc question. And here the companion now kicks in. So what we will make available is you can use the companion, ask a question, and then you get a dynamically generated and personalized answer. So for example, how has the NPS value evolved over time? Maybe something you haven't yet available in your rolled out dashboards. But if you have this question, just ask a companion, and then it will provide you not just with the textual answer, but even, as you can see here, with the corresponding chart component. So this is, I think, really helpful. But now let's take a look how this looks like in reality.
Discover how effortlessly you can leverage data for your success. With this powerful tool, business users can quickly gain insights and uncover trends directly from their data, without the need for expert help to build dashboards. Now, everyone can make informed decisions, breaking down the barriers that once limited access to critical data analysis. Let's see that in action. On the screen, you can see a process for the orders that are delivered. Imagine you are a business user curious about our order sources. You want to know from which country you are receiving most of our orders. Let's gain some insights with the companion. In the analysis space, check out the new Your Data tab. This is where you can start asking your major questions. Here you will find some predefined prompts to get you started, but you can also start writing your own questions. For example, let's ask, which country has the most orders? Watch as the companion engages with the data, extracting the insights it needs and delivering the results of its findings visually. It won't just give you the answer you're looking for, the US, but a comprehensive list of all countries, organized by order volume. Want more insights? You can also ask about the most ordered product. Like earlier, the companion quickly analyzes your request, gathers the data, and presents the details you need. This functionality is a game changer for business users, enabling rapid insights and informed decision-making. And analysts, you're not left out. Leverage these insights to build your dashboards more efficiently. Once a question is asked and answered, it's a part of the companion. You can see here something called Copy Component. Click on the Copy component. Activate the edit mode, and you can add a new app and just paste the component copied. Voila! You have the same insightful visualization there as you have seen in the companion, ready for you to work with. Don't wait to see the benefits of the ARIS AI Companion feature by yourself.
So isn't that great? So, I mean, on the one hand, it provides non-experts with instant access to quite data-driven questions. And like you've seen at the end of the video, also, if you are building up a dashboard by your own, you can also copy a generated component into your app. So this is serving both user types needs. And of course, maybe worth to mention as well, of course, while generating the answer, the companion also considers your data access rights. So in the example, there was the question about the US. If you only have access to US data, you would also only see US. If you don't have access to US, you wouldn't see it, right? So this is, of course, also considering the access rights that are maintained throughout the process mining platform. So this is one of the capabilities that is taking your data actually into consideration. In addition, we have also a more generic companion integration throughout the entire process mining application, meaning in the data set, but also while you create your dashboards. And you could, for example, ask, hey, what are typical business questions that I need to get answers for in my specific domain, and can get into a kind of a conversation mode with the companion to get to the required insights. And of course, you could also ask for improvement actions based on what you can see in the process mining analysis. And of course, there's also, let's say, the existing capabilities within process mining now enhanced and infused by AI. Give you two examples. So for example, the Process Explorer, there is a new icon available, and with just a single click, you get, for example, a summary of the graphical Process Explorer in a more textual form. Or you could ask, what are anomalies in your process? And then you get a list presented that is even clickable. So you can click on all the findings, and then they are being highlighted within the Process Explorer. So to really help you to stay in the right context. And last but not least, this is also very powerful when you are defining your calculated fields in order to be ready to answer questions in your dashboards. You can just type in the description how a KPI should be calculated, and then it's automatically translated into the corresponding formula or code snippet. So this is really jump-starting the way you build up your analysis model, both for experts, but also for the ones that get to learn the code editor syntax. So it's for both user types a great help.
Definitely.
So this was an introduction into the ARIS AI Companion. The start we made already in SR26, as Philip mentioned, with the pilot with selected customers, and now it's available in SR27 with a dedicated license required.
And
but of course, we have not.
One important thing that you mentioned, the data access. Of course, the companion is not a foreigner to the ARIS suite, so it will always consider the restrictions and access rights that you set up. This is valid for process mining, as Julian said, but also, as you previously seen, the companion is available in the portal, and therefore this statement is valid as well. So you will only see the data which users will have access to.
Excellent. Yeah, and while this is a really big innovation that we launched now, of course, we also made a lot of other things available with SR27. So here you see just a bunch of selected highlights. We walk you through now in the next couple of minutes, starting with business process analysis by you, Philip. So tell us more, please.
Yeah, thank you, Julian. So although it's, of course, all about AI, we didn't miss on improving our core product. So that's, of course, our important horsepower behind your transformation. And what we did is we mainly improved our portal capabilities. And there we introduced a bunch of improvements. For example, the new search. So what you can do now is you can even draw more conclusions from the details pane on the right-hand side. So you will also get the group path of the results displayed in the details list, and you can navigate to each item within that path. So to the model itself, but of course also to the groups within that path. Then another thing. So sometimes you might not have these excessive process landscapes, but rather small models, rather small value change. And that sometimes led to the fact that this preview that you had in the right bottom corner to get an overview of the entire model is more or less obsolete because you can already see the entire model on your screen. And thus it sometimes overlaid with the information that you wanted to consume. And now, depending on what you prefer, you can activate or deactivate this mini preview. So that's an individual user decision if you would like to have it activated, if not, deactivated. Oh, now we have a small technical problem. So we're not yet at the end, don't worry.
Can you fix it, Philip?
Yeah, I can fix it. I think now you see the
Yeah. Perfect.
can you see it? Okay. That was luckily quite easy to fix. All right. So as I said, it's a personal preference. You can activate or deactivate it. Another thing is if you are in the portal and you're just browsing a specific database or you only have access to few databases, then the search will automatically consider the database which is currently active. So this doesn't mean that you can search in other databases, but it does simply mean that you have to explicitly specify it. But it makes it much more convenient if you're browsing in one scope to also directly phrase your questions or put your search terms into the search bar. So these are small features that really makes it easier to work with the portal and also consume the content that you distribute via the ARIS portal. And we didn't stop with these small improvements. What we also did in SR27 is to introduce a new behavior, which also at the beginning might to appear as small, but it will entirely improve the experience. So as you might know, the preview that we introduced in our new content overview could not be navigated. And this has changed now with SR27. So in this preview, you can already navigate a process hierarchy and dive down into more detailed process from the top level processes. And even more, so we enabled that, but at the same time, introduced a one-click behavior and navigation, so which makes it really a seamless experience when you are familiar with working browser-based applications. So the assignments which you are familiar with, so the way we link processes with other processes can now be navigated by just using a one-click. So this makes it really convenient because this is what people are familiar with when working with web applications. Important to know, so this standard behavior applies if you have no XML customizing in place. So then you will get this new feature by default. If not, you have to deactivate it and use the respective fact sheets that we content overviews that we provide. And I even have one more feature in the portal. So as you can see, we put a lot of emphasis in consuming the content as easy as possible, making it leaner. And this is also one feature that contributes to making it leaner and navigating the content. We cleaned up the edit toolbar, which was available at the top right corner, where users could start reports or go into editing mode. This cleaning up now resulted in a new edit button and a cleaned up distribution of the different options that you have when interacting with the content. You can get this new cleaned up edit toolbar if you are on a default configuration. If you have XML in place, you have to activate it individually. And this makes it really convenient. So with all of these features, to make content consumption as easy as possible for your consumers. One more important information on the BPA side. So we talked a lot about portal and consumption. Of course, when it comes to consumption, also documents are important. And there we have the ARIS SharePoint integration, which you are familiar with. And as you might have heard, Microsoft is de-supporting an authentication feature, which is related to our SharePoint integration. And thus we will rework, or we have reworked our SharePoint integration and now rely on the de facto standard that Microsoft introduced. So although there might be support for older versions, so depending on your service level agreement with Microsoft, we highly encourage you to switch to the new way of working as soon as possible. And with that, I would like to hand over to Julian, for some more exciting news in our ARIS suite.
Yeah, let's get started then with process mining again. So in addition to the companion features that we launched, there is also a big enhancement made for the conformance check. So previously you could use exactly one process model that served as your baseline for the conformance check. And now you can have multiple models serving as your baseline. What does it mean? For example, if you have a global process model, but also local variants of that process model, you can bring all of them to the conformance check and then specify for which cases in process mining, which model should be used for conformance checking. So this helps you really to adapt the conformance check to your organizational reality and get to much more meaningful insights. The next functionality is about improving the overlay and eventually make the overlay available for EPC models. So we also saw here already in the chat and also questions from you customers that it's not all about BPMN. So also EPC is still a very important model type. And so we now also made the overlay available over here. But even if you use the overlay already on BPMN models, there is some additional enhancements made available for you. So for example, it's maybe tiny here in the screenshot, but also the edges that are overlaid have now a certain thickness, representing really the importance of the respective connection. Plus, also we made the filtering much more seamless, integrated in the integration in the ARIS portal. So check just out the new functionality, and you will see a bunch of great new features. Nevertheless, if you use the overlay on an EPC model now, or already on your BPMN models. The next one, I think this is crucial. I mean, as you know, for process mining to work, you need data. Data is the fuel to drive up your engine. And we come up now with a native way to extract data out of cloud applications via REST APIs. So you can, in the data layer within ARIS process mining, just define your endpoints, for example. You can even define dependencies between them. You can define other rules for the extraction. Authentication methods are different available, and also how to extract the data in kind of a different pagination style, etc. So to really get data from basically all applications now into the process mining platform in a native way. So this is complementing our existing functionalities, be it our process extractors for SAP or locally installed databases, and also our data ingestion API that is already available. Just check it out. And then, of course, we also made a lot of enhancements to the platform. And I just picked here one, which is the enhanced scripted measures. So you can now, in the ad hoc measures in the UI, in your dashboard, you can do cross-case calculations, for example. And we also introduced in the analysis model a new query operator to also define KPIs, considering not just the current case, but also expanded to different cases. So just to give you one example, what you can do now, you can now calculate KPIs like net promoter scores way easier than it was before. Also here, please take a look into your system as soon as it's available on SR27. Let's now move on to our next component, risk and compliance. So also here, quite significant changes have been made. So as you know, we strive to have a very seamless suite made available to you. And this is also not just for end users important, but also from an administration perspective. So what you will see in the SR27 version is a integrated administration. So the monitoring of tasks that are run in risk and compliance components directly in the ARIS administration. So you see all the server tasks, you see the server task history directly out of the ARIS administration. So no need to move to the risk and compliance component if you are an administrator. In addition to that, we also strive to make all the configuration around, or let's say not all, obviously, but the needed ones, the needed configurations available in self-service mode, so that you don't need to do a quite technical coding of your configuration and customize it, but it's readily available in the configuration part of ARIS. And I mean, this is not the first time that we invest in this functionality. And with SR27, for example, you can now also configure the enumeration attributes directly within the administration. So this is really making it easier for you to configure risk and compliance. In addition, automation, there's also a bunch of new functionalities waiting for you. Let's get started with our integration to SAP Cloud ALM. So here, as we discussed before, even if you use EPC models representing your business requirements, you can also bring them now into SAP Cloud ALM, even though Cloud ALM only supports the BPMN format. So you can have the EPC model, if you like, automatically transferred as a BPMN model. So this is also, I think, very powerful and helps you choose your preferred model type within ARIS, no matter what other formats are required in third-party applications. In addition to that, you can now also use or trigger the synchronization between ARIS and SAP Cloud ALM via a report. Also functionality that was used a lot previously when we synchronized ARIS with SAP Solution Manager. So this is now also available in the Cloud ALM world to have really also better governance around the entire synchronization between both sides. Then also important from an automation perspective is we improved the documentation about our REST API in ARIS. So as you know, we have different APIs available, different endpoints. And if you are a API developer, we made your life now easier with giving additional information when browsing our API descriptions. So I think this is valid even if you're already advanced in this topic or new. So also please check this out. I think this makes the experience in dealing with the REST APIs way easier. In addition to that, I think there's also a very important suite-wide innovation coming. Philip, can you share more?
Yeah, thanks, Julian. So it's great that you mentioned the improvements of the REST API documentations, and our suite-wide innovations go into the same direction. So with SR27, the entire ARIS documentation will be available on a web page. So this has to be clarified first. So it was a web page before, but it was part of your installation. And now it's different. So we have a central web page hosted by us with an improved documentation. So the web page is docs.aris.com. try it out. So I already work with it, and it's really convenient to get started and find what you need. So on a documentation perspective, another improvement that we brought into SR27. And now, so this was quite an interesting release with AI, with suite-wide improvements in mining, automation, and the BPA space. So we're now opening the question section, and we will now answer the questions that you have. Okay, so let's scan the questions in the Q&A section. So if you haven't posted your question yet, feel free to do so, and we will now pick them up.
I think at the beginning we had a couple of questions regarding, for example, can you also generate a EPC model using the companion? Philip, I think you dived already into this question, but maybe you can say a few words about it.
Exactly. So I mentioned it after the video because at that same moment I already anticipated that question. Of course, you can also generate EPCs using the companion. And there I can see another question about BPMN diagrams and the companion. So on a BPMN 2.0 process diagram, it creates lanes. We do not use lanes. Is there a way to suppress lane creation? Unfortunately, there's no such way, but that's an interesting requirement. So we will pick that up and see what we can do. And also consider, we now launch a very powerful companion, but this is only the start. So also with a more faster pace, we will increase in the future the capabilities of the companion, and also will align the capabilities with your needs. So get in touch with either Julian and me and let us know what you need. Another question, that's an interesting one. Is the AI companion able to reuse existing objects? As of today, it is not. But as we also anticipate this is one of the most wanted additions to that feature, we already picked that up and are working on it. So you can expect this to be one of the next improvements, which will be brought to the model generation.
Then I can see a couple of questions regarding the deployment model and pricing regarding the AI companion, right? There's a question, is the AI companion available on-prem or available in the cloud? So it's a SaaS-only functionality, because I mean, we also tap into LLMs that are available in the cloud. So that's one of the reasons why it's a SaaS-only functionality. Regarding prices and plans, please reach out to your local account executive, and he or she will give you all the details and discuss with you what is the best option for you to get to use the ARIS AI companion.
I think we also had questions with regard to the webinar assets. Will the presentation will be made available? Yes, and also the recording will be made available. What other questions do we have? How can I know the prices and plans? Well, get in touch with your account executives. Any plans to support generation of other model types? So this is quite the feature of interest, the model generation. So as of today, we will focus on processes, but as I said, so if we discover the need to have some other specific models, then of course we will consider adding them to the product. So get in touch with us, describe your needs. We will happily pick up your requirements. Any possibility to adapt the generation of model types to avoid violating our mine, filter, and semantic rules, or would that require retraining the ML on our setup? So that's unfortunately not possible as of today, but also something that we already anticipated. And we are working on a solution which will not require a retraining on the ML. So it also makes it a bit more flexible. But since we try to avoid retraining, it's a bit more complex. So don't expect it to be one of the next improvements that we introduce, but it's on our list of improvements that we would like to introduce. When
Then there's
using
also one.
Yeah. Oh, no, you pick it up.
No, I think I had the same in mind. So I think one regarding the AI-based consumption. So when using the companion to ask questions or generating dashboards, can the scope be limited to, for example, only include models that match on a specific attribute of a user asking the questions? Our global and decentralized company coexist in a single database structure into organization-based groups, where some models apply to all, but others only to one business area or even division, but are accessible to all. So, Philip, I think that's also for you, I assume.
Yeah. Here as well, I have to ask you to consider using it then in another release. So if it yet doesn't fit your needs, so we cannot work with this specific filter requests, but it's also on our roadmap as one of the features which we will next introduce in the portal companion. So we internally call it a more query-like behavior, and this would also include to, let's say, show me processes that are relevant to me, or do some more attribute-based filtering of the models that should be considered.
Yet, maybe let us stress this again. You can't get to other data via the companion, neither in the BPA part nor in process mining. You couldn't get also access via the regular usage of the product. So from a data security perspective, this is for sure warranted.
Yeah.
Then I think there's also a question, you saw a small disclaimer, how reliable are the results? And I mean, we're talking here about AI, generative AI. Of course, that's not perfect. So please also check for the results. So we also provide you with additional information, how we, for example, came to the answer. For example, in the AI-based consumption in the portal, there are links to the source models. So I think this is also state of the art when you take a look at other AI and Gen AI applications, that you, of course, should be aware that this is not a human-generated answer, but a AI-based generated answer.
I think this was referring to the XOR connection issue that we saw in our example, right? Yeah, so totally. So this is, as I also said during the presentation, it's not the 100% model, but it's the maybe 80-90% draft that you only need to adapt in minor aspects to bring it to the 100%.
So I think looking at the time of the questions coming in, I think that was also more or less the last one regarding the AI companion. There's another one regarding process mining. Is there a plan to also offer an API for consuming data in another application? So I assume it's about if you want to populate data in a third-party application. So indeed, we are also working on that. So for example, to make data from process mining available in third-party BI applications. So this is currently on the roadmap, planned currently for half year 1 next year.
Then one thing, in addition to the licensing aspect of the AI features, so of course this is a new product that we introduce which requires a separate license. So as I said, please get in touch with your account executive. But there's another aspect of that, or there are actually multiple questions in that. Only cloud we already covered. Which model are you using for AI? So we're using different models and are not exposing it. So also we put a lot of efforts in selecting and tuning specific models to fulfill individual tasks. So it might be even that for one AI capability that you use on our site, we employ several models that work together to produce a good outcome. Which model are you using, right? Your own or some available over API? Yes, that's also what we do. What about data safety in the latter case? So the same data safety applies as for your entire ARIS application. So data is encrypted in transit and also at rest. So your data is safe, and also no hyperscalers or AI providers are allowed to use your data for training or even have a look at your data. So it's basically the same as with your ARIS installation. The fourth one, I actually honestly don't get. So maybe, do you get it? ARIS documentation. Do we still need to upgrade help files while doing SR upgrade on-prem? If that refers to our new web-based documentation, then I mean, if you are on a specific version and would only like to see that within your installation, then it's still deployed locally. But you can also rely on our central documentation if that's what your question is about. If not, please again reach out to us and we can clarify. So again, a lot of AI questions. Do you have templates of workflows for ITSM processes? So currently, the process generation is about more about translating. So it's less about give me a hire to retire high-level process. So that's not what it is about. So this is also something that we're considering, but we discovered that a huge need lies in translating different sources into structured models. If you're interested in that, happily discuss your requirements.
There's also a rather generic question about loading BPMN models from other tools. Are we 100% compatible, or is there anything required for modification? Philip.
So, of course, we are compliant with the BPMN standard. As you might know, the BPMN standard also allows for extensions. And this is where, the tricky part might be. So since you can extend it, the applications also have to support these extensions. From a standard perspective, 100% we support the standard. How do you ensure that when the AI companion is used up on a process considered as confidential for the company, there is no sharing of the knowledge acquired by the AI companion with other ARIS users or companies? So one aspect that we haven't mentioned yet is that you can decide on which database you would like to enable the companion. So if you have data which should not be exposed to the companion, you have to put that into a separate database and disable the companion for that database. So that's totally possible if you would like to have that kind of behavior. With regard to the time left, I will quickly check if there are non-AI related questions that we should take first.
This is also an important one. So would ADS content and dashboards or data from dashboards be available to query using the AI companion?
Yeah, that's a good one. So with SR27, not, but that's also an improvement that we're considering for the companion. Oh, that's a quite important one. Do you use the data from clients to train the model further? No. So we do not use customer data to train a global model, which is then being made available to other customers. So that's something where we're quite strict. So your data remains your data.
So from an AI perspective, we basically.
I got another one, unless you have one non-AI, so I don't want to embarrass other attendees which might be not interested into AI. Should I go ahead with the AI one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So does the text-to-model AI keep the filter we have set in our database into consideration? Yes, it does, and even more. So if you have created your own models based on EPC or BPMN, this will also work. So it doesn't need to be the standard BPMN or EPC. Of course, if you now, let's say, abused our function object as some kind of risk object, then it gets tricky. But if you stick to the core concepts, then we can also use derived models and also filters to generate models.
Yeah, but we see that there's a lot of interest regarding AI.
Yeah.
So I think that's great. And just to sum it up again, so if you're interested in using the ARIS AI companion, please on the one hand get in touch with your local account executive to get to know what is the price model behind, and of course upgrade obviously to SR27 because that's the required service release. And just to mention it again, so the ARIS AI companion is a ARIS Enterprise SaaS functionality.
All right.
Philip, should we call it a day or any further question?
We can wrap it up, and the questions that we haven't answered, either, as I said, reach out to us if you would like to discuss some specific requirements that you have, which I haven't mentioned yet, that we're going to introduce them, or of course, happy to discuss any innovations that you have in mind and would like to see in the AI companion that we introduced. So thank you, Julian. It was a pleasure with you introducing our new AI features and also the great improvements that we introduced in our suite.
Good. Alana, thank you so lot for kicking it off. Thanks for everyone attending today's call. Again, as said, so the recording will also be made available soon. So stay safe, happy using ARIS, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.